This exclusive matchup on WCW Worldwide Wrestling brought to you by the motor oil that provides maximum protection. Castrol GTX. Drive hard. Hi, everybody. Tony Schiavone, ringside with the Professor Mike Tenay. There's been so much talk about the Cruiserweight division as we head towards Super Brawl, and this should be a fine Cruiserweight matchup here on Worldwide, Mike.
Tony, in the year 2001, every match in WCW is of utmost importance because factions are aligning themselves within Ric Flair's World Championship Wrestling, as he calls it. This matchup going to be no different. In the ring already, the Wildcat, Chris Harris, looking for a full-time contract with WCW. The opposition provided by one of those top cruiserweights, as you mentioned, in Shannon Moore, a young man who has already made his name here, already established himself on the WCW roster.
Speaking of factions, if you take a look at the faction of 3 Count, it seems as if 3 Count's kind of broken down because there's no more Evan Courageous, and it seems now that the other 2 members, Shannon Moore and Sugar Shane Helms, have broken off and are wrestling exclusively in singles competition in the Cruiserweight division.
But it's almost as if they have moved up the ladder after the breakup of 3 Count. Maybe the 3 of them together, well, maybe they were held back because they were a trio. Now that they're in singles competition, they have risen to the top.
Reversal into the midsection goes Shannon Moore up on top. Chris Harris. Harris trying to hold on, but Shannon Moore rolls right down his back and 1-2 and gets out with a 2 count that time. Hooked by Harris, forward roll, 1-2 again. Shannon Moore showing that he has a great counter move where just about anything Chris Harris will throw at him, but now the bigger Chris Harris mauling him in the corner here, Mike.
You know, we often refer to Sugar Shane Helms as the sensation of innovation, but you certainly have to give Shannon Moore credit as well for coming up with some of the most innovative moves we've ever seen, but that time on the receiving end of Wildcat Chris Harris, just tossing him over the top rope, slingshot into a crossbody block by Harris, and he connected.
And Harris continues the assault here, now against Shannon Moore. You talked about how Helms and Moore now are shining in singles competition, more so than in tag team. There's no Cruiserweight tag team division. This is their forte. This is their weight class. This is where they excel in singles and in Cruiserweight.
And maybe it's the fact that there is that championship belt to shoot for that we have really seen their careers on the rise. And Shannon Moore now on the receiving end of the toss-off. The southpaw, Chris Harris, used his feet that time to elevate Moore.
Chris Harris perched in a corner, waiting, and running over Shannon Moore. He did a 360 in midair with that 1-2, and he almost pinned him.
Harris connected with that left arm lariat that time, and oftentimes I think when you see a left-hander in the ring, maybe it throws the opposition off a little bit. They're more used to that right arm lariat, caught him from the opposite side, telegraphed the back body drop, did Harris.
Arn Anderson would agree to that, a southpaw, and of course Arn Anderson with a lot of success. Very legendary in the wars of WCW. I would say, even though Harris, we're very impressed with Chris Harris. We know him. He's a fine competitor. This would be a major upset if he could defeat Shannon Moore, only because of the TV time Shannon Moore has gotten compared to Chris Harris.
It does really boil down to the experience level between these two. Shannon Moore connecting with the elbow to the back of the head and then charging across the ring, and all of his weight crashing down onto the back of Harris while his throat was draped over that middle rope.
Harris in trouble, and Shannon Moore will take full advantage of it. No, Harris not in trouble. Sends him into the near side ropes, has him up. Look at this. The size and power of Chris Harris now coming into play and running in with a left-handed lariat. Takes him down. 1, 2, no. Charles Robinson close there as he tells us only 2, and the match continues.
The setup move to the lariat, that inverted atomic drop that almost looked like a low blow, almost proved the difference. Moore, great move off the top, moonsaulting, corkscrewing in the air, but then doesn't go for the pin.
1, 2, and only a 2 count. The reason he didn't go for a pin, he hurt himself, stunned himself on the way down that time.
And that momentary delay was probably the reason that he was only able to get a 2 count. Now both men to their feet.
Shannon Moore, knife edge chop, sending Harris back to the corner, and a foot to the face. Moore got the hands up trying to block. Could not, though. And he drives him face first into the mat. Face jam into a 1, into a 2. And that was not a good pinning combination for Chris Harris, although he could have won the match.
Well, again, that was the key. Did not have great weight positioning. Just able to drape the arm across the chest of Shannon Moore. And now Moore goes back to the offense. Oh, that knee caught him right in the midsection.
Drives the knee into the midsection. And now here he goes up on top. Oh, the bottom's up. One of his favorite moves, if not his forte. It could get the win. 2. No, it did not.
He kicked out of his finishing move.
Well,
Chris Harris able to kick out of the bottoms up from Shannon Moore, and that was a shocker.
Well scouted, doing his homework, is Chris Harris. He's still in this thing. There's the quickness of Shannon Moore into a sleeper hold. Harris doesn't waste any time putting him into the ropes, stuns him into the gut, and now swinging neck breaker off the far side ropes. Here's the pinning combination. 2. No! That was the closest near fall of the match yet, Mike.
Better pin attempt that time by Harris, able to hook the leg, put all of his weight across the chest of Moore, but he came up just this short.
Harris once again tries to win this thing. Shannon Moore still has life left, into a sleeper, and drops him down to the back of his neck, out of the sleeper hold, into the neck breaker. 1, 2, 3, it's over. And Shannon Moore fights through this and defeats Chris Harris.
Unique slam out of the sleeper, and that is the difference as Shannon Moore continues his winning success in WCW.
Your winner, Shannon Moore, looking to move up the ladder in the Cruiserweight division.
You know, whoever wins next weekend between Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Rey Mysterio Jr., they're going to have to contend with a laundry list of Cruiserweight contenders, including Shannon Moore.
Just another great example of the depth of the Cruiserweight roster in World Championship Wrestling. Shannon Moore established himself as a member of the 3-count tag team, but now I really think he has cemented his role as a singles wrestler in that Cruiserweight division.
Next week on Worldwide, much more about Spring Breakout 2001, and next weekend is Super Brawl Revenge Weekend. We're getting ready to go to Nashville, Tennessee. For the Professor Mike Tenay, I'm Scott Hudson. See you next weekend here on Worldwide.